My name's Andrew.
And I'm Anna.
And we're lucky enough to be here having had our house done with Gaia Constructions. We've been living in our place for over 10 years. An older style house that was starting to have a number of issues appearing. We fast-tracked a decision that was something we weren't necessarily planning on doing for quite some time just yet, but going through the process fast-tracked our decision to go ahead and get our full reno done and build our beautiful place that we're living in now.
So I think our main objectives for the renovation were to keep some of that authenticity from the old house, but adding in a lot of light. Some of the rooms and areas were quite dark and closed in. And I think for me, the other main objective was working on the functionality. So we had good sized rooms, but the layout of them wasn't that practical in terms of all being together as a family, or the way that we would have liked to have been interacting made it really difficult. So the kitchen was really separated from the dining area, which was really separated from the lounge, which was doubling as our playroom for the children. And so there was kind of a disconnect between the spaces. And so I think one of the main objectives for me was to open up that space and have it function in a way that we could all be together, still within our separate spaces, but interacting together. The priorities were finding a team to work with who aligned with our values. So understanding the principles of environmental sustainability was quite important to us. Obviously, budget, I think, is something that keeps everyone up at night when considering a renovation, and hearing a lot of stories from people about how far over budget renovations and building in general tends to go. So that was definitely something we were thinking about.
I think as well, we had a pretty long list of thoughts around what we wanted and what we didn't want. We just had no idea whether it was actually possible or not. I guess if we had knocked the house down and started over again, these are the things that we would like, and then go about how do we actually implement that into a plan to see whether it's even possible to do in our current house as it was back then. Yeah, all of that sort of stuff, and how is it all going to come together to happen, because we've never done it before and didn't have the skills or experience. And
other than watching a million renovation shows, which makes you feel like an expert, but you realise very quickly that you're far from one. Our architect gave us a number of builders to look into as options that she felt would align with those values as well. And so we met with a few builders, and Jeremy from Gaia Construction was one of them. And I think we felt pretty immediately that it was the right fit, didn't we?
Yeah, I think no doubt in terms of the combination of Jeremy being extremely genuine.
Yeah.
We didn't feel like we were in a sales meeting. I think as well for us, again, we had all sorts of different advice about whether houses should be saved, or with the money, whether they should be whether we should be rebuilding from a longevity point of view, from a value point of view. And Jeremy straight away, you know, with his background, and talked to us about coming from the UK, where, you know, everything is a renovation as opposed to a rebuild. So from an experience point of view, and, you know, having been in here and looked at the place and looked at the designs, he could build us a beautiful place with the existing bones that we had, based on the designs.
And reassuring us that the bones of the house were good and solid, and that it was a house really worth saving, which is
Yeah.
how we felt as well. The thing I really liked about the building process that I think was surprising was that Jeremy, apart from the fact that he is the most honest builder I have ever met and the most genuine, which just made things so easy, so upfront and honest about everything along the building path, was that, you know, the things that he laid out in the beginning, that Sue and Jeremy laid out in the beginning, being on budget unless there were variations that were our choice, and also on time to the day unless there were variations that were our choice. I was actually really surprised after speaking to a lot of people and telling them that, and having a lot of people say, yeah, we'll see how that goes, that in actual fact that was the case to the day and to the dollar.
Because again, we had a lot of people telling us we're dreaming that we will make it on time to the time that's promised, that the team that Gaia have to carry out all of the plans, the plasterers, the painters, the renderers, they were always there. They were always like nice to speak to and nice to deal with, and very warm and very welcoming, and it made it really sort of easy to understand that whilst dealing with contractors can clearly be difficult, that obviously for the guys at Gaia that they've built up a really good crew of people that they use, and that is one of the big positives, because even, you know, afterwards talking about you know, how nice the painter was and the discussions that you might have had with him and that sort of stuff, it's clear that you're only as good as the crew that you've got around you, and that makes a really big difference with the ease of, you know, going from one contractor to another, from one step in the building process to the next, and everything just sort of flowing through to get us in here by the date that was promised. Yeah, before we started, and again having absolutely no idea how any of this would work, we discussed, like, do we visit every day? Like, do we come and check it out whenever we want and get updates on site and all of that sort of stuff? And to the point about co-construct, it didn't take very long, where you're getting, you know, a dozen plus photos every single day.
It was such an exciting part of the day.
It was the best part of the day, where the first time we'd speak to each other after photos had been updated, it was, have you seen it? Yes, have you seen it? Wasn't that photo unbelievable? And like we're talking about, there's a hole in the backyard now. Oh my God, it's so exciting. And so I think even especially the initial phase where it didn't seem like that much was going on, we were getting updated every single day, and we didn't feel like we weren't here, even though we weren't, which obviously helps everybody. Yeah.
Obviously, marrying budget with quality, which can sometimes prove quite challenging, as we found out along the way. But I certainly think we achieved everything we wanted to achieve. And, you know, there were areas that we could work out with the team to compromise on to fit budget, and then other areas that we really wanted to focus on and put the extra money into having the high quality of finishes. But even the areas that we chose not to spend top dollar on in terms of finishes, there's been absolutely nothing that we've had any issues with, and all the finishes have been perfect. We've got friends in the building industry, tradies, you know, cousin that's a carpenter, a couple of builders in our friends and family circle, and all of them, when they've come to the house, have commented on the finishes and that, you know, things have been finished to a really high standard and quality, which we wouldn't necessarily know some of those details from within the building industry. So I think we've been really happy with them.
Yeah, that's definitely the big one where I mentioned having a team that you trust to be able to make decisions on your behalf, when half the time you have no idea what is being talked about, or specifically with the finishes and that sort of stuff. And as Anna just mentioned, you know, having people come in that have that background and experience and go, oh wow, they've done this or they've done that or they've finished it off this way, like they've done a really, really good job. It just gives that validation that we get when we're in here normally anyway.
So I think in terms of what we feel now and what we've achieved, it is such a beautiful home and such a beautiful environment to come home to. And it has absolutely fulfilled my dream of having that light space that is open and inviting and warm, that pays homage to the house that existed here beforehand. And it has totally changed the way that we interact as a family.
Yeah, I think we still, every day, that there's a point where we talk about how much we love this house and how happy we are that we made the decision to go through with it. Obviously, we talked about that, you know, the financial side of things was one of the biggest considerations, and having originally considered whether it's something we do now or in 10 years' time. And we just talk about how, in terms of a life choice that we have made, like it's one of the best decisions we have made, that for our kids who love it here, for us and our enjoyment here, that we have the extra 10 years of being in this place as it currently is, and enjoying it. And no matter what else is happening, coming home and working in the veggie garden out the front, or coming through the door and seeing all the way through to the backyard, and or all of the little things that were on that initial wish list, whether or not you could have them, we kind of got everything. And it's not lost on us when you wake up in the morning and walk to the back of the house and it's filled with sunshine. Or you get home in the afternoon and the front rooms with the huge windows are filled with sunshine, and that the design elements we really wanted to have in here, I don't think we expected it to turn out as perfectly as it has in terms of what we wanted. And so because of that, we are constantly just reminding ourselves about how much we love this place.
It's quite a few months down the track now, but we will still say, I love this house, you know, almost on a daily basis to each other, and then go, yep, we do, we really do.
Do you know what? In terms of favourite parts of the house, I think that there are so many different elements. Like, I joke about the things that I really wanted in that wish list at the beginning. So the separate large entertainment TV room to be able to chill at the end of the day, and that we're in a separate section of the house to the bedroom, so that when the kids are asleep, we have our area. Or having enough space down the side of the house to have a synthetic area for basketball and cricket that the kids love playing on, to the open kitchen, to entertaining in our, I don't know, like, I don't think there's...
It's really hard to pinpoint.
Yeah.
I love the kitchen. I love being in the kitchen, and I love cooking. So I really, really enjoy that space. That's never lost on me how beautiful it is compared to the kitchen that we had before, and I really enjoy that space. But equally, I love the lounge area, and I love the decking outside. On time.
Quality.
Open, understanding.
Trust.
Patient. We absolutely would, and we have, and we've, we're always very, very happy to pass on the details and recommend Gaia Construction. I think mainly for the what you see is what you get element. So for the process being really transparent and open and as easy as the building process can be, I think.
Yeah, and I think we clearly love our place. So the two elements are, has Gaia done a good job with the construction in terms of what it looks like and how the house is built, and we think that if anyone came in here and had a look through, like, there's no question about that. And then the other side of things is what the relationship was like, how the whole process was managed from pre-build to once we were done. And I think we feel very lucky that we had Gaia going through the process, that all of the things that could have been difficult and all the stories that you hear and all of the potential issues that you have with the builder, we seem to have skipped all of that. And we, if we were doing it all again, which we hopefully will not, we wouldn't have any need whatsoever to go anywhere else.
Yeah.